Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Nice, beautiful, calm day. Even the birds are kind of quiet, but you can hear them. So, I've just been walking through the woods and meditating, meditatively thinking in anticipation about all the great things that I've done and am gonna do, and loving on myself and appreciating who I am. And sometimes you're faking it till you make it, but you just gotta get used to saying nice things about yourself. If you don't feel uncomfortable with the things you're saying about yourself as you whisper softly in your ear, that's trick number one. Take a breath, slow the breath down, relax, feel more relaxed. Give that to yourself, you deserve that. And think about things that you appreciate about yourself. I always start with, I appreciate that I'm here being present with myself, observing how my body feels. That's a great place to start, and you should really feel good about yourself if you can do that. So if you're not doing that, then do that and turn off the video and go about your merry way. But getting away from other distractions all have the power to sort of put you to sleep, take you out of the moment of who you are and understanding what your real purpose is here. So distractions being turned away from is important, not quite as important as breathing in the perfection of everything around you, being conscious of your body, slowing your breath down, being more aware. Now, the tricky thing is when you're just starting to do that, might be blissful, but it's going to get to the point where it's like lots of quiet time, lots of peace, lots of being with myself, lots of tuned in, tapped in, turned on, a lot of connecting to my vibration and my inner child who guides me along and has been with me all my life. That inner child voice in my head has some issues he wants to talk about. And it may start off as like, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what you did wrong a long time ago. What do you think about that? How could you have gotten away with that? How can you say you're going to be able to drive your own life and co-create and create the blissful things that Dan's talking about here with the history of who you've been, that type of thing. So that's self-defeating talk. You got to just let that go. You just feel like, oh, there's some real meat to that. I really can't just let that go. So some things you maybe have to chew on a little bit, but you're not chewing on it like you're biting on it. You're loving on it and just realizing that we've all done the best we can. And to that, the best we can part I wanted to talk about, because I'm always trying to look at sort of the why and how and why do I get people to tune in, tap in, turn on to their own personal vibration of the day and follow their inner bliss and feel comfortable in their own skin and love themselves. Because, as I've said many times, loving yourself is job one. You cannot love anything else or appreciate anything else or stop criticizing anything else if you don't stop criticizing yourself and start getting comfortable in your own skin. So, little tip I thought about. I've talked many times before about this 24,000 years that the planet swirls around the galaxy, okay? Now, imagine that the planet, well, maybe you could play with it being a car. Yeah, let's do a car. You're in a car that flies around the galaxy, okay? And you got a radio in there. So with that radio, you can pick up, nowadays, you can pick up a phone call, you can pick up, any different radio station, you can pick up, YouTube, you can listen to, I have Apple CarPlay, so everything on my phone can happen in my car. But let's play with another thing. So you know that all those waves are out here around us. Right now, I can pick up all kinds of things. I can talk to people all over the world. I can listen to things that were talked about a long time ago. I can publish something now. I can put out, I can take back in, all with this little handheld phone. So we know these radio waves are always around us and they're having an effect. Okay? Now, let's picture you're in that car 24,000 years flying around the galaxy. Okay? An interesting phenomena is, that's a little bit different than what we're used to thinking as, is that let's just say the radio, you can turn the dial and old school, you can go to different, you change the dial just a little tiny bit and it's country music, change a little bit, it's rock, change a little bit, it's jazz. and on through the frequency. And that's such a tiny little fraction of the frequencies that are available out there. So even all of humans only pick up on a tiny little bit. So safe to assume that there's a whole lot more going on in the frequency situation, which is waves created by energy. But these waves that are coming out that transfer information and have effect on radios and us and everything, we don't really get that exactly. So I want to play with that concept some. So you're on this vehicle, your car, if you want to, flying around the 24,000 year journey, going very, very, very fast. But 24,000 years is a long time and a long way. So as you're moving along, the interesting phenomena that I was playing with in my own head is that this vehicle, as it moves, maybe I'll just sort of move across and we'll play with it. You could imagine your radio station being like, oh, when I'm at this frequency, you know, the radio station dial is going from left and right across the screen. And so as you are on planet Earth flying across that screen, there are different phenomena of what you pick up. Now, the thing that's different is I can change frequencies and I can pick up different radio stations as I move across the dial. But this vehicle picks up those radio stations as it moves automatically. It is the radio dial. Okay, so it's moving through. So you might say, you know, the planet Earth, our car, whatever you want to envision, is being and playing a lot of country right now. So the whole planet's all about country. And then we move to another part in the galaxy, and now we're all about rock and roll. And it's like, how do we act as people who are all about rock and roll? And so that's going to affect how we behave as people on the planet. And then we move to jazz. Now we're people who are acting all like jazz. And then we move to another spot. So as we're moving across, we're being influenced by different frequency. So the way it was explained to me is that as we're moving through this galaxy, there are times when the frequency is going to be such that we don't really know who we really are. We pull in from the energy that we were as souls, and we come into life, and we go back to that energy of a soul. But in that connected, you're still connected. It's still the energy that's running the human on planet Earth, not running it, but manifesting, experiencing, co-creating. You know, it's much deeper than just, you know. Anyway, so you're moving along, and the planet, here's an analogy. Imagine you held a radio, and you said it's set to country music right now. Now, as I swing that radio around my head, let's just assume that as I came down and I went back up, it played country right here, it played rock and roll, it played jazz. Came back up, jazz, country, rock and roll, heavy metal, and then on back around, and then country, rock and roll, jazz, heavy metal. And so this thing's swinging, this planet's swinging, this may be a better analogy. Planet's swinging 24,000 years around the galaxy. It's going to have different influences. It's picking up on different frequencies. It is a radio, okay? It's broadcasting and receiving, just like my phone does. Broadcasts and receives. Now, the collective consciousness, the behavior on the planet at the time, how I'm tuned in, tapped in, turned on. It's going to have a lot to do with what's going on out here. How tuned in, tapped in, turned on is the planet to me? What's the broadcast? And I had always sort of boiled it down to the simplification, which is the way it was explained to me, is that on the low band, it was just felt very disconnected from who you really are, the God source, the love, infinite love, the unconditional love. That's the part I wanted to say. You're disconnected very far vibrationally. So we played with that analogy of temperature. Like I'm very low temperature, it's a very high temperature. We're very different, and it's tough to connect. So when the connection gets better, and I am more in harmony with where I came from, then we create heaven on earth. Now, Jesus said that was coming, and so have all religions. There's been heaven on earth, there's going to be heaven on earth, there's been heaven on earth, there's going to be heaven on earth. It's like, well, because this radio, if you want to, or the planet is swinging around and it just receives a location, a place is a vibration. This is country, this is rock and roll, this is heavy metal, and it just goes around. And so when we're coming back into where this planet has been many times in that frequency, in that part of the galaxy where a certain type of, not so different, but a different radio station, different connectivity too. Maybe you could look at it that way too. It's like, well, I had good reception and I have bad reception. So here we are on this planet, moving right now to a point where we're rediscovering what we already know, because information is not held in your head. Information is held in the space, the empty space around you. So a memory is a time and a place, more so the place. Where was the planet at the time? You ever notice, like, if you want to remember something, go back to where you were standing when you remembered it, when you thought it? Weird, but it works, and it's true. And so, anyway, that they know the brain doesn't hold all these memories. We're a frequency. We're working off of the environment around us. It's a radio. Broadcasts and it receives, broadcasts and it receives. So what I'm trying to do is say to you guys, I know you're broadcasting and receiving, and know that we're living in a time on the planet where the radio frequencies are getting better and better and easier to tune in. We were on a low vibration, aka difficult to get reception. So no matter what you wanted to listen to, it was difficult. And so the planet did a lot of crazy things, and we did a lot of crazy things, and the environment suffered and things like that. So we got to stop beating on ourselves. And we personally did a little something to be in that environment of everything being a little bit difficult, a lot of struggle, a lot of self-hatred, a lot of hatred of others, a lot of fighting, wars. So we're going to give a little piece of that. So whatever you've done in your past, forget about that. It's part of the game, and it is a game. You're an infinite, all eternal, all knowing, all loving being, made in the image and likeness of God. You're here for a short period of time. Nothing you can do wrong. Nothing you need to make up for the last time you were around here. But there is something exciting that's going on, and the planet is getting more and more radio reception. And part of that gig is that we get to rediscover who we already were at this point in this place of the galaxy. Because the radio frequency of all knowing and all that information is all out there, because memories are left in the space. So we're flying as a planet back through our old existence of who we have been in the past. And so that's what tuning in, tapping in, turning on, that's who you're tapping into. Future or past version of yourself, it's just all out there. You just have to be awake. And you have to be in the moment. And you have to let stuff go. You can't be about to do, or what is other people telling you to do, or definitely not fear. You can't be worried about what's out there. We've been through all this stuff before. We're going to have things, the human body is always battling against everything around it. But is it a battle that we already know? It's called life. Life is always trying to, sort of etch out its little way of being, The bugs are battling each other. The plants are battling each other. Yes, we could just focus on all the love, because there is so much love in the harmony of the whole thing. The sun, basically, you could use that analogy. The sun is bringing us all love, and we all will grow from it. But there is an evolution of matter on this planet. You as a light being, as a co-creator, cannot inhabit this matter and show its perfection as perfect as it really is from where it came from. Okay? So you're going to have ailments, you're going to have suffering, you're going to have struggle, you're going to have turmoil, you're going to have battling, you're going to have all kinds of stuff. But so let that stuff go, because that's the part that's irrelevant, but everybody wants to focus on. But what is relevant is get in the driver's seat, look out the front windshield, tune your radio, and bring in the blissfulness of discovering who you really already are, and where we are in this galaxy, and the gifts that we get when we get to this part of the galaxy. All this technology that we're picking up on, you can look into it really, and you say, how how the hell do we figure that stuff out? People really look into it, often say, oh, the aliens gave it to us. Well, you know, energy around us can manifest in all sort of ways. If you want to see aliens, you can see aliens, and yes, there are aliens. Whatever you want to create, there is. And it doesn't mean that they aren't real. The point is, though, we're all part of it. It's all part of the energy of the planet and the energy of who we really are. And it's way more awesome than we could ever imagine or talk about. But what's not awesome is to go to sleep in the passenger seat of the car and have no preference where it goes, just waiting for this ride to end. It's like you're in a car, and this car will go anywhere you want. Take the controls, drive it. Let go of your inhibitions and the things you think the passenger or the people in the back of the car want you to do, or where, you know, God expects this car to go, or whatever. And then you just feel like, I'm just going to park it because I don't want to damage it. I'm not sure how it works, and it seems awfully confusing. I think about things, and then I'm there, and then I've once in a while I've driven it, and it does go, and it does take me beautiful places, but I'm just not quite sure. So I'm just here to tell you, take control take the wheel, put down whatever you were doing, throw it in the back seat if you think you need to bring all your life stuff with you. But really, you could just leave it at the curbside and just get in that car. The car's got everything you need. And there's so much out there to explore and so much beauty to experience. And when you see fearful things on the side of the road, don't pull over. Just keep driving. Don't need to go fix it. You don't need to pull over for any reason. Just, that's not my interest. Nope, that's not my interest. Nope, that's not my interest. Ah, that looks interesting. Maybe it'll take you a while before you get to something interesting. But anyway, I start going down too many metaphors, we'll get lost. So that's my time. Time's up. Anyway, so hopefully that made some sense. Just kind of start throwing things out there, and some analogies are like, oh, I should cancel that one, that gets too confusing. So anyway, I'm hoping everybody jumps in the driver's seat. One breath at a time. Walk to the car. You got the keys in your pocket, trust it. All right, I don't know where I'm going with that. Love you guys, and good luck. Talk to you soon.